Welcome to our community meetup. We are just admitting people as we go. Okay, we have also the banner. So happy to have you all here. We know that it's a holiday season, but we are happy that you are with us because we have some very exciting news for you from Andrei, Mihai, and Marian. As you all know, the gang is here, reunited. So we are going to go through a use case and the things that we did, the things that we plan to do, and the events that we were in the past month. So a lot of things to be covered. Let's start. Andrei, of course, you have the floor.
Thanks, Razvan. Marian, Mihai, great having you here. So yeah, first of all, stay hydrated. It's hot out there, and it's gonna be probably also hot what we are going to show today. Hopefully so, at least. So I think today we are going to start with debunking a myth, and namely the myth is about cloud technology and iPaaS not being able to grab resources from your desktop and stuff like that. And this is the use case that we are going to propose today. We are going to show you that by using an agent that was developed by PROCESIO, we are able to leverage resources on your desktop. And hopefully you can already see my screen. I'm going to move to PROCESIO and configure such a process. It's gonna take me a while doing this because it's although I think it's more or less in a blink. Definitely there were some prerequisites to it, namely installing the agent and stuff like that. This is all documented by us, how it works, and we would provide full documentation for it. This is actually the process, but we are not going to build this because it would take just a bit more time than what I'm going to build in front of you today. And probably at the end, we are also going to go through this. So let's start. First of all, as mentioned, an agent was already installed on my laptop in order for the agent to work and be able to grab resources.
How much time did it took you, Andrei, to install the agent?
I think it took me less than 10 minutes, to be honest. So everything was clear because I had the documentation. Without the documentation, probably it would have been much longer because I wouldn't have known how to install it, let's be honest. But the documentation was clear. I know how to install it. And over here, if I'm gonna search for the agent, is PROCESIO agent, and probably it's in running. I'm not gonna stick with searching for it, but yeah, probably it's here somewhere. Yeah,
you can type. You can type PROCESIO.
You can see it over here, and it's in running. So definitely this is a prerequisite. And then we have some actions that we are going to configure together. By the way, this is all documented, so you don't need to know stuff by heart. I also don't know stuff by heart, and I'm also having on my other screen some stuff that I need to use in order to configure this. But the use case is, as mentioned, showing you that using PROCESIO, which is cloud-based, is able to grab resources from your laptop. In this case, what we are going to do is we are going to open the calculator. Something easy for everyone. Nothing wrong about
so you're
that.
Opening the calculator from the on-premise laptop, right?
Exactly. This is
from PROCESIO, and you're doing this from PROCESIO, opening something from the laptop on your premise.
Exactly. This is what we are going to
cloud, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this is the action. I'm already trying to configure it, and I noticed that I did a mistake. This is where I need to put my command to be executed. So let's start configuring it. First of all, it asks me, but this is all documented as mentioned, so you don't need to do this by heart, but I'm going to add some variables. The first variable that I need to add is the seed, and namely over here, it's gonna be of type string, and I'm just gonna copy paste the default value. This is something that you will be able to obtain following our documentation. Then I need to add the secret key. Also, this is string. I'm gonna add the variable. Okay, it's type string. Hopefully, I'm not gonna drop because I have some internet connection issues, but I'm sure it will be fine.
We will speak while you are away if you do so.
Yeah, sometimes I have the feeling it might be that I have the feeling that I drop if I don't hear someone talking.
So the secret key was with I noticed that you have the secret key. The default value was like with double quotes before and after. Was that correct?
Exactly so.
Yeah, but that's just your secret key, right? That's how you configure it. It doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah, I configure it like this. Yeah.
Cool.
So right now I'm putting the endpoint, also string, default value, good. Okay, working directory. I only have a directory which is C. We are going to ask C, and this is the task ID. Give me 1 second. This is the task ID type string. This is also task ID. This is also string, and this is.
I think that where you have the working directory is C double points and backslash, not slash.
I think it's right, but we will check this at the very end. If it's now we will change that. All right, let's move on. Then first of all, we configure the first action, which is actually telling my desktop to open the calculator. And then we are going to configure the second action. Again, I need some of the variables that I already configured. Namely,
while you do this, I just want to clarify something as you do it. So basically, this is a configuration, standard configuration, so that PROCESIO and the agent know which is the secure channel to communicate through, right? So that's why you need the endpoint, the secret key, the SSID, and so on. And by the way, Andre, I'm sure that you will clear those IDs. So after we publish the recording,
so nobody can hack me, huh?
Yeah, people won't be able to send commands to your to your laptop.
So, yeah.
It would be cool though to have it like send some commands to play some song on your laptop or something like that.
Let's start a challenge now. Who will be able to do that will win like 1 year subscription of PROCESIO. So if you're doing right now, you're opening something on PROCESIO on Andrei's laptop, we will award you with something.
Yeah, but that's only after Andrei removes the secret key. So so nobody.
So
wins.
give me 10 minutes after the community.
No, the challenge was right now, like in 10 minutes.
Okay, I forgot the SSID. I should have print screened it.
Yeah, that's true. Task ID. All right, this is also something that I want as output. And task log. All right, the last variable, we are getting almost there.
So basically, this variable will hold the result, right?
Yeah.
After the agent has executed your command, you will get basically the output.
All right, so I already validated. It's actually these two actions. Obviously, you need some configuration. Let's also give it a name. Demo agent. All right, we validate stuff. And right now what we are looking is for the calculator to pop up. And it did. All right, that's perfect. It did. So we access something from my laptop. All right, now let's take a step back and mention that I did this in the easy way, because in the documentation, if I'm going a bit back, just give me a second, we have a process that's a bit more complex. What I did over here is I skipped these steps. Namely, I only use these two actions because I didn't want to also check on the status if that task is finished or not. But in the documentation, we also have the other flow, which we can showcase to you. This one, I think it's the one.
So the idea here is just to mention why we have some additional steps that we recommend is that the process will send a command to the agent, and then it will go to the next action without waiting for the actual agent to execute the command. And that's because you might have commands that take a while, right? You might have a command that might take half an hour or more, right? And you don't want to keep your process hanging in there until the command is done. And for that reason, we also have the second command, which actually gets the result. And that's why we have those additional steps. So some of the time, from time to time, the process will check if the command got executed, right? And you should know what you're running on your desktop, and you should know how much of delay you should put in there.
Exactly right. So now that we know that PROCESIO, we debunked the myth. The myth. PROCESIO is able to leverage resources on your desktop. Mihai, can you tell me why you think this is to some extent important? Why do people still work on desktop? To be honest, I don't know. Marian probably would agree to me, but yeah.
I know why, because you and they have like some Excel file locally saved on your desktop, not on cloud, as we might prefer, some of us like me.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm in between. Like I still love a bit of the desktop stuff, but slowly I'm moving towards cloud stuff. So
also, Andrei, just to answer your question, the idea is that you still need on-premise resources. And why is it important that we can do it like in literally a few minutes, right? You just set up you said it took you around 10 minutes to install the agent, right? But keep in mind, guys, this was the first time Andrei actually installed any agent, right? And it just followed the documentation. How much time would you estimate that it would take you to install a second agent?
I don't know, 5 minutes, not more than 5 minutes. Yes, you have to do some steps, you have to pay attention, but it's not more than that. And once you deploy the agent, you can immediately start doing the process, and the process is being done as I did it in front of your eyes. It's
exactly
15.
It was like, I don't think it was more than 5 minutes that you configured the process, and we both spoke right while we did it. So it's extremely fast. Now, why is this important? Because if you're looking at other iPasses out there or cloud integration platforms out there, you will see that it's a lot of headache to connect to on-premise resources. It might even take you the entire IT team to help you to set up complex security rules. In some instances, it might take you weeks or if not months to connect cloud integration platforms to on-prem resources. Whereas with PROCESIO, you literally saw how easy it is for you to connect. It literally takes you minutes, right? Not hours, minutes. That's why it's important.
It's fast and it works. That's how I would qualify this. All right, if I may, I would move on the topic. If there are no questions, guys, please feel free. Every time you have a question, feel free to raise these questions, because this is actually why we do these calls, is in order to get in touch with you.
I have one question.
Speak out loud.
So the second point there is May overview is like in the month May or in the May I?
No, it's in the month May. If you remember,
we were just kidding.
Yeah. If you remember, some of us do have vacation, and we were out of office, and we delivered Aziz, and he did a great job while having the community update while we were off. But we promised some stuff, and I said, okay, let's review what we promised. Was it delivered? Was it not? What's the status of it? And that's what I intend to do. So back in May, let me try go full screen. So back in May, we promised that
it's like May we have done it.
Yes, indeed. Have we done it? Yes, consider it solved, huh? That should be the PROCESIO code. All right, so back then, obviously, every time we bring new action, that's the standard for us. But back then, we also promised some new features. Namely, we wanted you guys to be able to leverage past resources or past processes and be able to not start from scratch. So therefore, we brought the duplicate process feature. It's already there. You can duplicate it. You can go on a process, click on the 3 dots. I'm not going to show it to you anymore because it's straightforward, and you duplicate the process. When you duplicate it, the new process is going to be in a deactivated state. So you will just have to activate it yourself. Definitely, we have the possibility to do self-hosted PROCESIO, to deploy PROCESIO on your servers and so on. Additionally, we promised map JSON to data model. This is also a real possibility right now while using PROCESIO. And guess what? We also promised you will be able to force stop an instance. And yes, if you have a hanging process or something that didn't work as you wanted it to work, you can go in instance view, click the force stop button, and the instance will be stopped.
Why would you need to stop it, Andrei?
There are several reasons why you might want to stop it. First of all, there is a possibility that you forgot to put some timeout in the for each and you're going into an infinity loop. It might be on purpose, but that's one of the reasons that I'm thinking about. But there are also other reasons. Also, while you do some do whiles, you can do that.
You know what happened to me several times while I was actually coding, right? Or I ran a process, I coded a program, then I ran it, it passed all sorts of tests. And when I started to run it on like millions of records, I realized that something was wrong and I needed to stop it. Right?
Yep, that's definitely a case, and definitely this happens a lot. We work with lots of, I don't know, let's say heavy Excel files, databases. You need to iterate through all those columns, all those rows, and you notice that at record 1,000,009 something is not configured well. You don't want to go through another 10 million records. Let's stop it and start from scratch. So definitely that's an appropriate use case. And yes, what we promised in May has been delivered. Let's move on. I also want to discuss quickly with you what's upcoming, because this usually we don't have this with what was promised and was delivered. This is just an overview because we were not here in May. But let's also show you some new stuff that comes on the roadmap. So namely, we have some new platform actions coming in, and right now I'm going to name some of those. We have expat actions, and we want to be able to transform XML to JSON and JSON to XML. And this is in order to support a use case, a really important use case, namely e-factura it's called, but it's kind of e-invoicing. I think I think it's more or less a standard in the European countries where invoices need to also be digitally signed. So this is a use case that we intend to fully support, and therefore we develop this action, and they're going to be there probably in weeks from now. Let's take a buffer, but it's almost there. We are there.
Like next week.
I would say I would add some piece of information here actually to make it more generic. The reason for which we are adding the expat. Obviously, we're working at e-invoice as you mentioned, but the idea is that there are use cases, there are scenarios where a REST API is not returning JSON, but is returning XML, right? And you need to be able to process an XML and navigate through that XML. And that's why we are introducing expat.
Exactly so. Additionally, what comes around the corner is workspace administration. It's a new screen where all our users will be able, we introduce a new role, by the way. It's besides the admin role, we are going to have an owner and co-owner roles. And these roles will be able to create workspaces for an enterprise account and delete workspaces, allocate resources to those workspaces in terms of execution time. It's a thrill. And as mentioned, we are going to deploy this probably next week. So let's say that when we are going to have the next community update, we'll be able to go through all of these new features.
Andrei, I want to challenge you. You know, I want to challenge.
Definitely.
Why did we create this? Why didn't we just manage it ourselves?
What do you mean? Why don't we manage it ourselves?
Why did we create this functionality?
Definitely so. One of the use cases is we have customers that implement in their turn for other customers. and they need to separate resources. And for that stuff, they need to have different workspaces, and they need to allocate resources to those workspaces. And in order to do that, obviously, you need a workspace administration page where you can have all the necessary tools in order to do this.
Absolutely. And I would
yeah, please go ahead.
I would add basically that our focus at PROCESIO is to offer tools for people to use our technology without our help as much as possible. So if you need the help of the vendor, it means that something's wrong, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of self-service, do it yourself, huh?
Exactly.
But we are here to help. Let's keep that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. Additionally, moving on, we also added, and Mihai already mentioned something, we also added Call API v3. And he mentioned that RESTful API sometimes return XML. This is the reason why we added. There is also some other functionality that we brought in the Call API v3, namely we support now binary. Definitely there are those use cases where, let's say we have some files, you need to translate them, you need to send those files to a translation engine and so forth. Now we support this. And I'm thrilled to do this use case because at one of my previous jobs, I was working with translation stuff. So I'm thrilled to go back to some of my colleagues and show them, hey, we can do it.
Not show them, but implement with them.
Implement with them, that's the word.
Cool.
Something to add over here? What would you say? Yeah, probably it's also going to be something very useful for the e-invoicing use case, but do you see other usability for this, Mihai, Marian?
Yes, I do. Actually, a lot of new use cases are opened up with this new version of Call API.
Definitely so. Also something that won't be deployed next week, but in a few weeks from now, we already started working on it. And in a few weeks from now, we are going to also intend to bring it to life. It's OAuth 2. Namely, we want to make PROCESIO able to grab resources from your third party on behalf of the user. And this is why we are bringing it. It's gonna be there soon. And obviously this will enlarge use cases such as for us building connectors and templates that need access to those resources. Let's imagine that you need to grab something from your Google Drive and you need PROCESIO to grab it on your behalf. Right now, it's a bit more complex. You can do that, obviously, but there is some configuration that needs to be done. Having OAuth would mean 2 clicks. Allow, next, done. And PROCESIO grabs that resource for you. And finally, but not least, we have the process library over here. I'm still debating a bit with Marian if it's going to be the process library or something else. We have 2 features that we need to check if it's going to be, as mentioned, it might be process library or it might be error port. Both of them equally important. We don't know which is going to be first. I'm going for the process library. Yeah, Marian is going for the, Marian is actually going for the error port. Probably error port will be first, but
no, let's keep it a surprise.
Let's keep it as a surprise. By the way, because I have process library on my slide, what is this about? This is more or less going towards the fact that we want to offer you templates, pre-configured processes that you are going to download on your workspace and be able to shortly configure and use them. And I think longer term, this process library might, I don't know, I need to still get management approval for this, but might transform into a marketplace. You never know, but
you are now publicly pushing Marian, right?
Yeah, something like that. We need to get his signature,
social pressure.
So I approve that and agree that this process library is like the root for the marketplace. So this is what you want from me?
Yeah. That's the first step. The next step will be like signing it off and also finding some rewards for the community that contribute with templates for PROCESIO. But we are in the brainstorming phase. Bear with us, it's gonna be there.
Andrei, look, you have a feedback from the audience from someone called The Start. He or she says that I like your vibe. So cool.
Thanks.
have
Thanks,
fans.
guys. That's
Yeah.
good.
So,
Probably
Mihai,
someone from Pennsylvania. Do we have people from? I don't know. Let's talk about. Let's do some Q&A if there are questions. Definitely post them on chat or jump in.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Will you create a fun page for yourself? I see you have already fans.
Nah. I today I don't know if you noticed, but I missed my hat. I don't have my hat with me. It's too hot in the apartment. I said no hats.
I almost could not recognize you. Right? I
Yeah.
said like, who's that?
By the way, I've been at Pennsylvania. Great event. First day I went there in a suit, man. Next day I tricked the system, took the PROCESIO t-shirt, and it was awesome. It was awesome. Believe me, it was a lot more cooler than I believed it will be. Let's talk about Marian Mihai. What have you been to? Because lastly, I know that you've been to at least 2 major events. What were those? Tell us a bit.
Yes, we were. So Mihai, let's discuss a bit of what we both had on our plate on this couple of weeks. So we attended a lot of events, important events like eWorld in Essen, Germany, where we discussed with a lot of companies in the energy space, because it was like a energy dedicated conference. But important is that all the companies have something in common. They all need to be more agile, more efficient. They all need to automate and reduce manual work. And they need to do that with PROCESIO. So there was a good vibe on our technology. We were well received there, and we can wait to see how this will conclude. Right, Mihai?
Absolutely. Just to be fair, they all need to automate, and preferably with PROCESIO, just to be fair.
Yeah, I think it's. I think we already moved towards enabling more and more use cases, and now like bringing those actions like XPath and also Call API v3 and enabling actually the e-invoicing use case. I think that's something at least for the Eastern European market that.
And we even discover new use cases that we can address with PROCESIO, right? For example, managing the commissions for your sales force, right? Because generally from company to company, there are very different and complex rules for managing those types of calculations. This is called compensation management. And we could do it easily with PROCESIO, which is a very nice use case. Other use cases that we discovered that we could do with PROCESIO is, it's a very cool name. It's called Virtual Assistant. It's kind of a combination between the chatbot that we already built on top of PROCESIO plus other types of functionality. So basically, you would communicate with PROCESIO and ask it to process different stuff, or connect it to your email and process the request from your clients automatically, or get files from wherever you keep those files, either from email attachments or from FTPs or from Google Drive or whatever, and process those files automatically, and so on, so on. So there are many use cases which we discovered in Essen. Use cases that we ourselves have not thought of, right? The persons with whom we discussed were the ones that explain to us those use cases, which is nice.
Yeah, that's great.
One second. If we are speaking about use cases, let's also discuss what use cases we have on our plate here locally in Romania. So we have a really huge one and painful one for our partners and clients, and I will let you explain that. So let's hear it.
Yeah. So there's a big demand right now in the region in changing the suppliers for electricity and gas. And apparently this is not just a big problem, but it's an urgent problem, which we could fix really quickly. And hopefully by the end of the year, we will have a lot of clients switching contracts through PROCESIO in the Romanian market. So like millions of customers. This is what we are working on, which is really nice.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. By the way, I also wanted to mention something. PROCESIO is out there. You can sign up for free. You have an hour of execution. And what's new, we have a crash course. It's in beta version, but if you want to start using PROCESIO, the crash course will be made available for you. So reach out to us and we will make sure that you have a starting point.
I might say that the crash course is amazing, and you, Andrei, were the brain behind it. So it's really great. So congrats on that. And also, I want to clarify which hour of you have. You have 1 hour of execution per month to use it for free. So execution time, right? So execution time in our technology. Just to clarify what with that.
Every month.
Every
for
month.
free.
Yes. And by the way,
this is huge. You can do a lot with 1 hour of execution time of processes. Process execution, it's huge.
yeah, I mentioned, I think they can do the calculation themselves. We are grown-ups over here. So let's mention the average execution time of an action.
So the average, I will say, because I'm really proud of this metric, and apparently we are very well positioned in terms of the required time to execute an action compared to other platformers out there. So basically, when you execute something in PROCESIO, it takes it less than 80 milliseconds, and we are pushing it to bring it even lower. We're pushing it to go to 50 milliseconds, hopefully in the next month. I'm
no
glad
pressure
that,
for our technical team, right?
Yeah.
No pressure.
I'm glad that
Below
Stefan is
50
not here.
milliseconds.
Stefan is not here, but he will see the recording. He says, "How much time do I
We
have?"
have Alex, and he's also on his plate, right, Alex?
Absolutely. So, Alex, now you know.
Yep. So yeah, in 1 hour there is a lot of execution time. That's what I wanted to emphasize.
One more thing, if I may, Andrei. So also what we have learned from our existing clients is that 1 hour of PROCESIO execution time, it's equivalent to 100 human hours. So what you can achieve as a human in 100 hours, this is what PROCESIO can do in 1 hour, right? So basically, we're giving you a full month of whatever you want to do with your time for free every month.
Yeah, go on vacation. That's the
rest of your life.
Automate and go on vacation.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Let the money pour in.
Yes. So glad to have you back here. Yes, for everybody else, just check us on our website. We have also a blog. And of course, we have one of the best podcasts on automation that there is out there. So check out all of our resources, come back to us, give us feedback, and of course, use PROCESIO for the rest of your life. That's it.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.